Okay, so here's something I still don't understand. What the hell happened to video game text and UI size in, I want to say recent years, it's been for a good while, it's probably like the PS3, 360 era. Like, since it's over on the screen, use Dead by Daylight as a good example. You can customize the subtitle size, customize the freaking background, how much opacity you want, increase the text size, how you can even increase the size of the freaking UI itself. And that is awesome, especially in a day and age where so many games just have the tiniest text and UI. But this is an exception to the rule, and so many games for some reason just the size of the text and UI just gone down for some reason. Like, here's two examples from the Star Ocean franchise. From Till the End of Time, aka the best Star Ocean game on the PS2, and Star Ocean The Divine Force. Look at Star Ocean in the Time. Look how much easier the text is to read, how more spaced out the letters are, and how even when something's like covered over, sometimes there'll be a line underneath it, or when it's a equipment screen, there'll be a shadow attached to it to make it easier to read. And look at the item description on the store stuff being like the most important thing, so you know exactly what the item even does. Now let's cut to Star Ocean Divine Force, where holy hell, why are the letters way more squished in? It's more space in the box, and for some reason they just don't really use it. It just things have to be so compact, and most of the space is taken up by an image of the item. You don't even see the item when you actually use it in combat, so why have so much space dedicated to it? And then the actual effect of the item on the right is like one of the smallest things on screen. Shouldn't it be the most important thing, what the item does? And then there's just NPC dialogue, like it throws into at a time. Big blue box, you can actually customize the color of the background box to make it easy to read if you want. And then to freaking Divine Force, it's just white text on the game's environment. And the name of the person's even smaller. Why would you make something even smaller with your text what's already small? The biggest sin is the loading screen. There's nothing else to show on the screen. So you can put the text as big as you want, but no, the image of a stat screen is bigger than the actual tip telling you what you're supposed to be looking at. What? Who the hell is this for? Why is it like this? Look at this example from Atelier 3, where the game's freaking watermark for taking a screenshot from the console is bigger than the actual in-game text itself. And there's no freaking background for the text to separate it. At least for the dialogue text, and why? Why couldn't the dialogue text be as big as the watermark? That looks way better to read, and yet it's not being used. But hey, credit, the new Atelier game, Atelier Yumia, actually has text that seems to be bigger, and also put in a very nice transparent background on top of it, make it easy to read. So that is awesome to see, and that is almost my priority with this game. Most people think about the combat, Atelier Yumia. Some people, the characters. Me, the subtitles. Considering the Atelier games haven't had an English dub in a long time, yeah, the subtitles should be good to read because that's the only way English speakers are going to be able to actually understand what's going on. You have the game Stellar Blade, where you can actually customize the size of the text, and you can also add a background on top of it, which is very nice, but you have to take into account that their idea of large text is kind of as small as most games nowadays, but the fact that you can add a background is still appreciated. I just wish the larger text was, actually larger, and this doesn't really increase the size also of the game's UI. But hey, at least it's something you can do. It's an option, so the devs are trying. I just wish to try a bit harder with that subtitle size. Another cool example is actually from Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, where you can actually fully customize your subtitles. You can change their size, change the color of the text itself, change the color of the speaker, change the background. That's super cool. You can also have captions for stuff. There's a whole bunch of accessibility things actually in the game that I know people just talk about, hey, accessibility features, but it's one of those things that people don't really talk about in detail, that kind of thing. Like for me, I'm focusing on the subtitles because the fact that it has the ability to customize subtitles like this is super cool, and I wish more games actually let you do that. But nope, instead people will prefer, they want accessibility, just add in an easier mode where you kill things in one hit. Great, how does that help with the subtitle size in the slightest? I don't understand how people use that and go, this is their accessibility. Okay, how does that help with the actual problem? It doesn't, but it helps me, specifically. Okay, then who the fuck are you? Why are you here having this one entire thing? Please stop. Please. The craziest case I've seen people customize their subtitles actually comes from Like a Dragon Ishin and Infinite Wealth. We actually have the ability to change the subtitle text size, change the text color, add the speaker's name we want, the speaker's name text color, and just make the most biggest, essentially, I would call abominations of text size for the cutscenes that you possibly want to make. And man, the results are nuts, but hey, I freaking love the option, and I totally use that option. Granted, it does not increase the size of the UI, but the fact that you can just make giant black box text for cutscenes is a very cool option that I don't see anyone talk about when it comes to more recent, like a Dragon / Yakuza titles. That should be praised a lot more. That is dope. Which now brings me what even made me want to even do this whole video to begin with, the recent release of Visions of Mana, where, oh my god, who greenlit the freaking text in the UI? Like, you have the in-game dialogue, which actually has like a very transparent but still existent background for the text, but the text itself is pretty small, making it still hard to read. The cutscene text is actually bigger, but doesn't have the black background from the actual in-gameplay dialogue for some reason. And why is the pause freaking text right there in a way easier thing to read than the actual cutscene text? Why not use that? But none of that seems to be able to fix the minuscule UI in this game. Look at this battle results screen. Why is it so minuscule like that? Hell, it's even hard to read skill descriptions for combat. Like, why is it like this? And then just your freaking menu HUD, like, what? What's this? Why is the freaking stuff so tiny to read? Why the hell is it like any of this? I don't understand. I don't get it. Why is it like who looked at this and thought this was okay, and the average person will be able to read this? Like, is any person read this just fine? Am I the crazy one? Maybe I'm the crazy one. Who knows? Hell, there's a point in Visions of Mana from one side quest where an NPC actually like talks under their breath for like a joke thing, but they actually had the audacity to make the text even smaller for this one gag. In a game with already small text, you had the balls to make it even smaller. That takes some serious guts, even if it is for a gag. Like, nowadays, well, actually, since the PS4 Xbox One era, you've been able to use a zoom-in feature for your console, and I've used that for the PS5 and Switch. But man, using those features is still awkward in itself, since at least for the PS4 to PS5, you have to hit the home button and square at the same time, and sometimes the controller can misread your input, and you have to press it multiple times to fully zoom in. But imagine you need to zoom in so much, or zoom in during like an action game where you can't exactly pause elements or anything in order to read you're supposed to read. For the Switch, you have to double tap the home button, which once again is still awkward because it can just not read double tap and just read it as just two separate taps. And then you have to freaking slowly zoom in, mark where you want, and then create like a giant little space where that's the portion of the screen that's zoomed in. And it's just, it's usable. It's kind of awkward. I feel like it shouldn't have to be used. I feel like freaking games should have better UI size and text size. But it's a thing you can do. It is in fact a thing you do, and also I know for the Switch at least, people love to make the excuse, well, the Switch is a portable device, so ideally, you should have the thing up to your face at all times. Except for the fact that the Switch is a hybrid system, so you're also using it for a home console, and putting it on a smaller screen in no way, shape, or form actually makes the UI and text problems better. In fact, that probably make it worse because the smaller screen doesn't matter if it's up in your face. I mean, look at a screenshot from Hyrule Warriors, where why is the objective? Granted, has a black background, which I appreciate, the smallest text on the screen. Why is the KO text more important than the actual objective? And then you just have the small text box for the characters talking to you. Since it's Hyrule Warriors, the characters don't exactly have actual full voice acting. They just make some noises and that's it. So not as if it's just being read right out to you. But why? Why is it like this? For what purpose? The only major cases I've seen of people really getting upset over bad text and UI is, for example, Dead Rising 1 on back on 360, where since HDTVs were new, apparently the text didn't show right on freaking CRTs, so people complain about that. But Capcom basically had no solutions, and the alternative was to actually make the text better. So yeah, people just have to go, hey, go get an HDTV or something. Even then, I don't really think that really particularly helped the problem, like in the slightest. Like, I doubt 4K TVs will make any of my woes with text and UI better. Another profile case is the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, where for some reason they decided to go with a different style of fonts, even though it wasn't broken in the old games, but decided to do it. And it's way more squished in, making it look smaller as a result and harder to read. And it got so much backlash. Not only people on Steam when the game came out actually started modding in their own fonts. When it came to consoles, they had to brag as a new feature how there's a new pixelated fonts. A new feature for your game is actual readable text, which is still messed up, but hey, at least they did something. Other companies would probably just tell you to go screw off or something, but the fact that you had to do that, a second version of the game, why? Why would you print something that wasn't broken to modernize the text? The hell? These are pixel remasters of NES and Super Nintendo games. What do you mean modernize the text? I don't understand. And then another case, which to a small degree, but still big enough, was also for Fire Emblem Three Houses. I've seen people complain about the text size in that game, even getting articles about it. Once again, as far as I recall, nothing was actually done about it, aside from people going, hey, what the actual hell is this? Why is the text so small for this? I think at most I've seen people try to freaking talk about the art and difficulty of making text size and stuff and needing to account for, but nothing was really done about the issue at all. But once again, since that's a Switch title, people go, oh, you should be playing the game in handheld. Shut up. Not everyone plays the game in handheld. Not everyone uses Switch as a handheld, and that doesn't face the problem in the slightest. That is, in fact, dodging the problem, if anything. Please stop advocating for that. Like, I just want to know what the hell happened over the console generations, everything, that just caused such small text, like, because it's not like they're really showing anything on screen in the examples I'm given, where there's anything that you need to pay attention for, they need to look out. So there's not anything they really, need to make sure there's nothing covering. It's just an empty screen usually most of the time, or it's probably from skin to show. In some cutscenes, the characters just stand around and talk and aren't really doing anything crazy. They just need the entire screen to show. So I don't understand why. What's with the obsession of we need to show every last bit of most of the screen as we possibly can, even though there's nothing being shown. Like, there are games nowadays where just the normal UI always reminds you what the game's controls are. And then they also make that text incredibly tiny. So what's even the point of even having that to begin with? Like, what are you trying to highlight and show by making sure the screen isn't covered? What is there to show? I don't understand. You're not using it for anything. And especially for a loading screen, there is nothing to show. But freaking the games nowadays do it, and apparently having readable text is considered accessibility, which I still can't believe, because I refuse the idea that having actual decent text and UI size is an accessibility feature, and that the average person can perfectly read everything just fine, and that I'm the crazy one. That I'm the weirdo in the room for thinking about the UI text size in games. Like, am I a weird one? Is it just me? Is it me? It can't be me. The Pixel Remaster, Dead Rising 1 and 3 Houses thing happened. So it can't just be me. It can't just be me. But it's probably not enough people. Maybe I guess we just need more // modes to fix the problem. Ugh.